morning. Let me read the statements. The Congress of South African Trade Unions held the scheduled meeting of the Central Executive Committee from the 21st to the 23rd November 2016, which was attended by the national office bearers, the representative of its affiliated unions and provincial structures. The meeting discussed and resolved for a number of organizational, political, international, and socio-economic issues affecting the workers and the working class in the country and around the world. The CEC reflected that there seems to be no respite in the crisis of global capitalism that started with the 2008 banking crisis and mutated into a fully fledged economic recession afterwards. This blatant failure of neoliberalism has resulted in depressed wages, intense exploitation, and greater economic burdens for the working people. The political effects of these crises are being felt in many countries, with many government and democracies dealing with the surging emergence of the radical left tendencies and ultra-right-wing forces. The Brexit vote that ultimately ended in the British membership of EU and the election of Donald Trump as the President of the USA reflected the emergence of a dangerous narrow nationalism and upset in the right-wing politics, especially in the Western countries. This is felt to a certain extent by the common people's rejection of globalization, neoliberal policies, and austerity measures that have decimated their standard of living. The international situation for the workers is even gloomy. The number of unemployed people is higher than the pre-crisis level. The global economic outlook is forecast by the IMF to grow no more than 3.4%, with rising unemployment and inequality, creating a growing resentment against the international finance capital and the neoliberal policies from the international working class. In South Africa, the persistent low economic growth rate since 2009 has left millions of workers and citizens facing unemployment, inequality, and deepening poverty. The CEC acknowledged that the current balance of social and political forces in our country favor the white monopoly capital that still maintains the hold of the commanding heights of the economy. A weakening and divided ANC coupled with the dysfunctional alliance has failed to ensure that the progressive resolution of the ANC are implemented by our government. The failure to implement the progressive resolution of the ANC by the government, coupled with our flagging economy, has further strengthened the influence of the finance capital through sovereign rating agencies, which are now dictating macroeconomic policies decisions taken by the government. The National Treasurer's obsession with specifying rating agencies in the face of growing unemployment and retrenchment, and the stubborn adherence to the neoliberal macroeconomic framework, despite a failing economy, points to an organization and a government that has abandoned the concept of a radical economic transformation. The corruption scandals, deepening poverty and unemployment have created a fluid and unpredictable political situation. This political uncertainty is troubling for the Federation and constitute a setback for revolutionary forces and the working class in general. The CEC, though also noted, like all other crises, this one also opened up the opportunity for the workers and the working class to influence the future and the direction of the revolution in the country. This period of change is an opportunity for progressive forces to intensify their fight to transform and restructure our economic structure and ensure that economically marginalized are brought into the mainstream economy. The CEC meeting resolved that COSATU's main preoccupation going forward should be the struggle to reverse economic domination by the cabal of white monopoly capital cartels under the protection of the retrogressive and reactionary national title. To achieve this, the Federation and its affiliates shall continue with the program of focusing on bread and butter issues of our members and broad socio-economic and political strategy in the interest of the working class as a whole. The working class also need to deal with effects of drought and drinking water supplies across the country. This has already resulted in workers struggling with food prices and sometimes with losing their jobs. This is a cruel reminder that global warming is real and climate change is upon us. COSATU has resolved to take the lead in ensuring that we take the debate about climate change into the mainstream of our public discourse. This needs our attention because it will have a severe implication of the security of food, jobs, including our education and health system, if not properly managed. The meeting congratulated our affiliate COSATU for its successful National Congress and SARS for that is celebrating its centenary as South African first and foremost finance trade union. On the organizational assessment, the CC expressed contentment with the Federation process of introspection that has led to the enrichment of the content of our back-to-basis perspective as discussed by our 11th National Congress and the 2013 Organizing and Bargaining Conference. The CC reiterated its assertion that the task of building a strong working place organization must be anchored by intensification of the ongoing back-to-basis and listening campaign. We have successfully managed to translate the back-to-basis program into a meaningful practical activity to strengthen our workplace organization and to close the gap between the leadership and the members they lead. We shall continue to build class consciousness among our cadres and to wage sustained campaigns that have a huge impact on the broader policies and political landscape. The Federation has also effectively managed to make sure that its programs are based on the reality and clear understanding that the glorious days of our Federation shall not be returned through wishful thinking, but only through honest hard work by affiliates and everyone. For honestly and decidedly tackling the problem, the problematic tendencies that have developed within our affiliates head-on, and also implementing the declaration of the 12th National Congress of putting our pronouncement and our resolution into practice. We also appreciate and recognize that we are attempting to forge a united and militant federation under qualitative different conditions, which include a steady decline in the rate of unionization, dire economic situation, the fragmentation and mushroom of. It is COSATU that has successfully pushed for the adoption of the UIF Amendment Bill, which has finally been adopted by the National Assembly's Portfolio Committee on Labour and the National Council of Provinces. It is a progressive bill which will see billions of rand of the UIF funds channeled to the workers by increasing UIF benefits from 8 months to 12 months, increasing maternity leave payment from the 54% of income to 66%, including mothers who has miscarriages in the third trimester and stillborn under maternity leave. It will empower the minister to set special regulation for domestic workers on the issue of maternity leave. It is COSATU that has managed to remove from the bill controversial section that the Department of Labour brought to it. After the bill have read, like for example, the clause dealing with abortion. We are currently busy engaging with government and other social partners in the network on how to expand access to the UIF to cover the informal sector and self-employed workers like the taxi drivers, including paternity and parental and adoption leave. We have also successfully forced government and business into negotiation for the legislated national minimum wage and make sure that those who were hell-bent on undermining and ultimately killing the national minimum wage do not succeed. The Federation has also forced government to release a white paper of the national health insurance, and our focus now is on winning the battle of getting the NHI implemented in our lifetime. We'll fight any attempt to delay or to sabotage the implementation of the NHI inside or outside of the government. We've pushed and persuaded our government into releasing the Comprehensive Social Security discussion paper for the discussion at NEDLAC. This paper has been released, and we shall be going to NEDLAC to ensure that it serves the interests and aspiration of the workers and the working. On politics, the meeting expressed concerns that the alliance is struggling to define and unite itself after the local government election campaign saw serious division, and the election results saw the ANC lose support. We spent a lot of time discussing the future of the alliance and its relevance in achieving the goals and aspirations of the working class. We find it troubling that our movement continues to be occupied with its internal challenges and continues to be caught up in the relentless partisan fighting and politically gridlock. The immediate priority for the Federation is to implement the resolution of the 12th National Congress to strengthen the alliance and contribute to the process of uniting and strengthening the African National Congress. We'll do so by friendly engaging with our alliance partners, and will defend them when it's necessary, but also criticize them when there is a need to do so. All of our actions shall at all times be informed by the need to unite the alliance, and also ensure that the ANC in particular builds its capacity and has the necessary confidence to lead the alliance and the society. The CEC made it clear that COSATU is not a junior party in the alliance, and therefore it should not allow any alliance partner to instruct it on what it must do. We shall work to ensure that such attitude do not persist from any of our alliance partners, because if it is not properly managed, it has the potential of leading to disintegration of the alliance and in undermining its unity and cohesiveness. The CEC called on board COSATU and the SACP to try and put more effort in implementing the decision taken in our bilateral meeting in order to intensify our class battles. The meeting also called on these two left formation to continue engaging each other on the state and national democratic revolution, including assessing challenges, opportunities, and threats facing the revolution. The Federation also resolved to participate in the discussion relating to the SACP relation to state power and the call by some of its structure to contest for political power. We want to make sure that this debate is not reduced to a mere call for the SACP to contest in election for its own sake, but that it answers some fundamental theoretical and practical questions on how we are going to achieve socialism. The CEC also reflected on the question as who should lead the ANC out of its current political gridlock and into the future. We engage on these issues driven by our devotion to the alliance and the desire to see the ANC united and ready to lead the second radical phase of our transition. Complicating the issues was the fact that we have not finalized the formulation of our own new midterm strategic perspective to help provide a cohesive framework that should act as a guide on what needs to be done going forward on all fronts. With that in mind, and after intensive and robust debate, the CEC resolved to support and lobby for the Deputy President of the ANC, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, to take over the reins as the next President of the ANC. We are mindful of the fact that we are not a voting structure of the ANC. but we represent workers. We are members and supporters of the ANC. We also support the proposal that the ANC should explore the possibility of avoiding slates and contestation in its next conference. The meeting has submitted a vote of no confidence to the Minister of Mineral Resources, Minister Ntshalintshali, as a minister in this sector. He is a weak and polarized figure that has failed to deal with the biggest issues like retrenchment, illegal mining, and ongoing violence. His collusion with other unions to isolate and attack the NUM was the last straw for the Federation. We are calling him to step down or